Power to SME, it was established in year 2012 by our founder and CEO, Mr. R. Narayan. He came up with a very innovative business model which eliminated the intermediaries in the supply chain of commonly used raw material from the big manufacturers to the MSME manufacturing units. It was done on a demand aggregation basis, and thus we were able to transfer better pricing benefits to the MSME manufacturers. This is the entire Power to SME ecosystem. As I mentioned, Power to SME it deals in raw material procurement and sourcing business. Our Finance Me, it connects MSMEs with our empaneled financial partners for easy and seamless uh, facilitation of working capital loans. Our brand SME Shops is the India's biggest B2B marketplace for MRO and industrial goods. Both corporates and MSMEs can buy and sell their industrial products over SME Shops. And last year we came up with our NBFC by the name Best Funds, which deals in very innovative solutions for raw material uh, procurement solutions. The key product categories that Power to SME deals in include steel, polymer, paints, yarn, chemicals, and there are several others to it. The major industrial verticals that we cater to includes auto components, engineering, electronics, paints, furniture, textiles, and there are several others. We are an invested company. Some of the most reputed venture funds in the country have invested in us. Inventors, Kalari, Excel. Nandan Nilekani is one of our strategic investors. We are also funded by World Bank through its financial arm, International Finance Corporation. These are the few awards and accolades we have won over the time. And this is where you can find us on social media. Any one of you wanted to know more about our services can get in connect with us. So well, this year budget was made under very unprecedented situations, and thus measures were needed that were never thought of earlier. There were many expectations of various industrial segments, and many of these expectations have also been met by the budget. However, prioritizing the capital expenditure on infrastructure, pharma, and education, these have been the top highlights. MSME sector will definitely be benefited with many outlays and measures defined in this year's budget. Today, Dr. Kumar, our eminent speaker for this session, he will give you a detailed analysis of this budget and which will enlighten you about what this budget holds as opportunities for MSMEs. So I would now request Dr. Kumar to kindly take over the session. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Zubair. Thank you very much. In fact, it's a very important session. We have to decode the budget because budget is a very complex document, and there are multiple various provisions relating to almost all sectors of the economy. So we will try to bring out all those issues which directly or indirectly have an impact on the working of the micro, small, and medium enterprises, because that is the session probably related to MSMEs. So there are various things which are directly related to MSMEs, but then there are many other economic parameters which will indirectly some way or the other impact MSMEs working. While the initial reaction to the budget is well known to the people, because no one else than the stock market gives the feel of the budget, the implications of the budget, and stock market has already responded, and we have all seen that how the stock market has given thumbs up to various provisions in the budget. I think the one factor that is probably behind the stock market's euphoria is that the budget has been able to manage resources without levying additional taxes. I think looking at the past COVID year, almost a year has passed, and the economy going down substantially. I mean, the third quarter going down by close to 23-24%. We were expecting that probably government may have to levy more taxes, direct taxes, or maybe by way of some COVID cess, or higher taxation on high net worth individuals, or corporate tax, some levy or cess on corporate taxation. So that was the initial, initial apprehension amongst the people, but nothing of that sort has happened, and that is a very good news. Second thing is the budget. I mean, the estimations are quite realistic. That is what people are saying, that the government has, for the first time, or maybe very clearly, laid out a roadmap for a long-term growth trajectory in the Indian economy, and has allocated substantial funds without hesitation, even if the fiscal deficit had to be, increased uh, to a very substantial hike. I mean, overlooking the FRBM target of 3.3%, which was laid out earlier. The finance minister said that they are going to go for, revising the FRBM target, and the fiscal deficit projecting at 6.8% for the next year. Of course, current year fiscal deficit, there is no, control over that, because whatever has happened, we can't go back and recover that lost period. So the current year fiscal deficit 2021, which is likely to end in another 1 month, of course, at 9.5%. But next year, 6.8% is also beyond expectations of the economists. So we were probably not hoping that the government is going to go all out in planning the, expenditure in such a way on capital expenditure as well as revenue expenditure, that the fiscal deficit target is going to be breached to 6.8%, and then all the way going up to 2025 to 5%. Less than, around 4.5%. So that is another barrier the government has broken. And that shows that the government is intending, in fact, to go for long-term growth investments, as it is clear from the capex target which the government has set up at 5.54 lakh crore out of the total budget, total expenditure of 34.5 lakh crore. So that is another indication that more the capex, more the growth, coming in our, various projects and various sectors. So that is another good parameter which probably people have, economists particularly, and of course markets have cheered, that government has for the first time raised the capital expenditure to such a level, 5.5 lakh crore. But only thing that I was looking at between the line is that if you increase your total expenditure to 34.5 lakh from 30 lakh crore, 30.39 lakh crore in the current year. So there is an increase of close to 4 lakh crore in the total expenditure, revenue and capital both, in the next year, that is 21-22 budget. But majority of this goes to the revenue part, and increase in capex is only by 1,40,000 or so crore, 1,40,000, 4.12 lakh crore to 5.54 lakh crore. So if you are increasing the budget by 4 lakh crore, the total expenditure, and your capex increase is only 1.30 lakh, 1.40 lakh crore, it means the remaining 2.60 lakh plus crore is going to revenue expenditure, which is a little cause of worry, because I think revenue expenditure, when we talk of, mostly goes into administrative costs, salaries, wages, interest, and all that. That probably needed some control, where the majority of the chunk of the resources have to be spent, especially when the government is short of resources, as against the total budgeted expenditure of 34.83 lakh crore total expenditure for the year 21-22. The the revenue receipts, other than borrowings, are only 19.76 lakh crore. Why I am quoting these figures, the deficit figures and the expenditure figure, the capex figures? This is the overall budget, which will set the direction of the economy, whether the economy and the inflation and the interest rates are going to be positive for the MSME sector, or they are going to go in such a way that everybody gets affected, and then MSMEs are also not spared. For example, if the total expenditure is 34.83 lakh crore and the income is only 19.76 lakh crore, so there is a gap of close to how much? 15 lakh crore. 15 lakh crore in the revenue deficit, revenue expenditure and revenue income. Now, 15 lakh crore, the government has projected various other means of generating this revenue. Out of that, 12 lakh crore is the borrowing. Now, let me tell you, if 12 lakh crore रुपए अगर borrowing से आएंगे, which is, I mean, to meet this expenditure, which is a growth-oriented expenditure target, that is very good. On the expenditure side, it's excellent. But as far as projection of 12 lakh crore of borrowings is concerned, what I see is that if you borrow more, it is going to create liquidity squeeze, liquidity problem in the market. And deficit of 6.8%, more of deficit is going to create inflationary pressure. So inflationary pressure on the one hand, because of the deficit, higher deficit target, and on the other hand, the borrowing target of 12 lakh crore by the government, both are going to create the liquidity constraints. And when you have, everybody knows that when there are liquidity problems, liquidity constraints, and there is an inflationary, impact, the interest rates are going to go up. So I was decoding all these figures. So I found that the future is of higher interest rates. Gradually, the interest rates have to go up, and that was visible in the yield of the government bond market on the very first day, and of course thereafter they have started hardening. So we should be looking at and staring at a regime of now gradual increase in the interest rates. That is what I can decode. And those MSMEs or those individuals who can now at this fixed interest rates can form up their borrowings, loans, whether it is housing loans or business loans or any personal loans at fixed rate, they will be benefited, because future is going to be, as from looks from the figures, as looks from the projections, from the deficit and the borrowing target of the government, the future is going to be with higher interest rates. So interest rates are likely to go up. That is what I can surely see from these figures. I think all economists would be seeing that and explaining that. Now, the feel good that has come in the market and in the economic circles and in the business circles, all industry associations have also applauded the budget by and large. And most of the people have really given thumbs up to the budget, that in the difficult time it has come. Of course, I can understand, because we have passed through such a difficult stage over the last 9-10 months that even slightest of the feel good looks to be very, very, a happy moment. So by and large, the no other taxation, no further levy, no further cess, no further. So that itself is a very great, feel. But in addition to that, the market, of course, goes by your long-term vision, the government's long-term vision. And market loves disinvestment. Market loves, the announcement of disinvestment of 2 banks and 1 insurance company, and then completing the process of existing institutional disinvestments of IDBI Bank and other, which are in the pipeline, and also setting up a roadmap for disinvestment or privatization of, public sector undertakings, because the target set by the government for raising resources from disinvestment is also substantially high. I think it is 2.25 lakh crore, which is very, very big. And this disinvestment will surely be liked by the markets and the economists, because ultimately the private sector has to, take all that pie from this disinvestment and the government's, economic policy. So this is another measure which has helped the economy and the stock markets. And then there are 2, 3 more, very prominent, announcements which are very helpful for the economy, are setting up a new infrastructure development financial institution with initial capital of 20,000 crore, which the government has said, because this is going to help the infrastructure development. And the government probably is targeting, as announced in the budget, 5 lakh crore of lending. Now, 5 lakh crore of lending, to companies, corporates, and private sector for infrastructure development. Private sector as well as public sector for infrastructure development is also going to further add to the capital, investment in the country. Now, infrastructure development is, of course, a dire need of the country. And infrastructure development, whether it is in roads, highways, ports, and buildings, industrial infrastructure, all this is going to help the MSMEs, because supply chains are going to improve, the transportation is going to improve, the other, like ports and highways and all these things are going to really bring efficiency in the logistics cost of the MSMEs, which they are facing as of now. In any case, in India, the logistics cost is much higher, at close to 12%, which in other countries probably is 5 to 6%. So we need to bring down that logistics cost, and it will only happen when the investment in the additional investment capex is put into, development of the infrastructure. So that has given another, cheer to the markets as well as to the economy. So it's a bold measure, that setting up a specialized institution. We had other, development financial institutions earlier. I think many people know that IDBI and IFCI and ICICI, all these were development financial institutions. But then ICICI and IDBI were converted into full-fledged commercial banks, and they took a different direction because they went into commercial banking. Both are successful, of course. But IFCI continued as development financial institutions, but it could not manage with the stressed accounts, and probably became a very marginal player in the development financing, sector. So it's a good initiative to set up another professional development financial institution with a target of 5 lakh crore, which will surely benefit the infrastructure development and also the economy and all sectors of the economy, including micro, small, and medium enterprises. Another measure which the government announced in the budget regarding, setting up a asset reconstruction company and asset management company, which people call it as a bad bank, because they are the, institutions which take over the bad accounts of banks and then manage them efficiently, because banks have to do a lot of activities. They are not only sitting there to manage and recover or rehabilitate or revive or take legal action, including NCLT, etc., for those accounts which have become bad. Because if they concentrate more on these bad accounts, their developmental work remains, gets hampered. So while the banks should be given, like time to and freedom to go for developmental work for lending, additional lending, see, of course with caution and with new safeguards, but then the existing accounts which have turned bad, which have turned sticky and stress. There has to be a professional way of dealing with such accounts, and this will surely be helpful. The institution which the government has announced. Well, there are similarly other issues, uh, many other issues sector-wise, because six pillars of the economy which the finance minister mentioned, all have been given due consideration with regard to allocation of funds and some policy initiatives which are new, which will surely spur the growth of the economy. It's a long-term growth-oriented budget that everybody acknowledges, and is a bold budget which really goes for like deficit financing to a unexpected level, which was not expected, 6.8%, and current, of course, 9.5%. So while it is a very bold budget, it's a very growth-oriented budget, visionary budget, and but the concern that I expressed regarding the shortfall with regard to the availability of resources and raising of borrowings, which will surely spur the cost of borrowings, and this has to be, of course, controlled. The RBI and the government both have to really take effective measures so that the cost of lending, particularly for the MSMEs, does not increase, which may become difficult for the small manufacturing and other service-oriented enterprises to manage their operations. Now, coming to the MSME sector, the impact of budget on the MSME sector, there are several, you know, uh, announcements and policy measures. While there is no additional tax, but then there is no reduction also. So while the stable tax regime continues as earlier, because the government had already announced for the corporates reduction in the taxation rate from 30% to 25% for turnover up to 400 crores, and which covered, of course, most of the micro, small, and medium enterprises, because as government said that 99% of 99% of business enterprises are MSMEs. But the issue was that the government gave concessional tax regime, that is 25%, for companies with turnover up to 400 crore, which covers all MSMEs, because turnover limit for MSMEs is only 250 crore. But only corporate MSMEs, not the proprietorship concerns, which are MSMEs, and not the partnership concerns. We know that traditional businesses, family-owned businesses, home-based businesses, small businesses, tiny enterprises, mostly have been set up in the proprietorship as a proprietorship concern and partnership concerns. A small number is has gradually converted and into private limited companies, or maybe some new companies which have started as a private limited companies. So we were expecting that for proprietorship concerns and partnership concerns also, similar tax benefit, that is concessional tax of 25%, would be given. I think that has not been done. So while the tax regime, of course, the earlier tax regime will continue, that is corporates, companies with turnover up to 400 crore will continue to be subjected to 25%, whereas other proprietorship, partnership, MSMEs will continue to be at the existing rate of 30%. So no increase, no surcharges, no other cess. So existing rates will continue. That is a good news. But there are other provisions like which will surely benefit the some benefit will be there to the MSMEs. Let me give you one by one the announcement and the implication of that and the benefit or anything that any effect that the MSMEs may have. The major one, of course, which the government announced was increase in budget allocation for the MSME sector from 7,300 something to 7,600 or something was there last year. This year it is 15,700 crore. So that is a very big jump, almost double, more than double. 15,700 crore budget allocation sounds very good, looks a great figure, double than the last year. So, and correctly so, because MSME sector is almost half economic contribution comes from the MSMEs. But the point that I am trying to make is that this 15,700 or doubling of the allocation should be across the various schemes. It should not happen that majority of the chunk of this 15,700 should be given to like Credit Guarantee Fund Trust, 5,000 crore or 4,000 crore. So that will not, while that will help in providing, some kind of indirect support to the MSMEs. But if majority of this goes into providing direct subsidy assistance in the form of interest subvention, in the form of quality upgradation incentives, in the form of technology upgradation grant, which is, like provided by the government, in the form of cluster development, common facility development services for various clusters in the country, for marketing assistance to the MSMEs, for exhibitions, for vendor development programs, for export development activities. So these are various schemes, or for competitiveness building programs, which the government, so many schemes which are being implemented by the government, or even various other schemes like lean manufacturing, quality upgradation, design clinics, all these schemes which are implemented by Ministry of MSME and the organizations. The allocation should be increased in them because they provide direct assistance to the clusters and individual enterprises which are able to get the facility. So the details will be, of course, known now after the passage of the budget. We will know which are the schemes under which the allocations have gone up, but by and large, it looks to be a good allocation, more than double of the last year. Another provision of one-person company, announcing one-person company is also, long sought after by many, because as of now, the company can be only of two people, whether it is a private limited company or a limited liability partnership. So limited liability partnership is also minimum two people. And under the Companies Act of 2013, minimum two persons can establish a company, not one. So starting a one-person company will help a lot of people, particularly the proprietorship concerns, who can convert from proprietary to companies. And it will help them to take the advantage of that concessional tax of 25% also. So it is all the more desirable for the proprietorship firms to convert into one-person company. We will see the guidelines, how it comes. And this one-person company will also benefit the startup, enterprises, those who are still starting, because they may not like to have partners at the initial stages, because they are in the process of developing their product, innovations, setting up their prototypes, and getting the patenting done. So they want to build their own asset in their own name. So they can set up these one-man companies, private limited companies, and later on take the advantage of that asset which they would have created as a startup enterprise. So it will help them also. So it's a, I think, very good initiative, and a lot of people will stand to benefit with lesser compliances, but getting the benefit of the company, corporates. There is one announcement on Stand Up India program. Stand Up India program, as we know, is meant for new enterprises owned by SC/ST owners, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and also women-owned enterprises. Women can also, take the loan under the Stand Up India program. So while the Stand Up India program was a very interesting program announced by the Honorable Prime Minister, but the utilization of Stand Up India program, I think, has been much less than what was available. Not all the branches of the banks across the country have been able to provide assistance, because when we talk to them, they say there are no applicants. So reduction of margin money requirement from 25 to 15% in the budget will help, in fact, more applicants, those who want to avail the loan under Stand Up India program from the banks. They have to shell out less margin in this scheme. So that is a very nominal, marginal facility, but then it concerns the MSMEs. That is another benefit. There is another announcement regarding tax audit relaxation. There is a compulsory tax audit as of now for enterprises with 95% digital transactions. Those who have turnover exceeding 5 crore. So up to 5 crore, there is no tax audit, compulsory tax audit requirement, but for 95% digital transaction, I'm talking. So that limit has been increased from 5 crore to 10 crore. So some relaxation to those smaller companies who are within the 10 crore turnover limit, but their 95% transactions are digital. But the issue is, those majority of the MSMEs whose transactions are not 95% digital, up to 95%. While they may be doing digital transactions, because all MSMEs have started digital transactions, but their transactions have not reached 95%. 95% means you are almost on digital. You don't accept any cash or any checks. So digital payments is on online payments, basically, mobile and computer and internet and all that. So for them, the turnover limit compulsory audit is 2 crores, which also needed to be increased, which of course we had demanded, but it has not been done. So I think there also there is a need to increase the turnover limit from 2 crores to at least 5 crores. So there is another announcement regarding decriminalizing certain provisions of LLP. Now, limited liability partnership was started as another means of setting up an organization. Like previously, there used to be proprietorship, partnership, private limited company, and public limited company, and societies and trusts. This limited liability partnership organizational structure was started, I think, in 2011-12 to benefit the partnership firms, those who wanted limited liability, but not were able to comply with all the requirements of the Companies Act as a full-fledged company, a private limited company. So giving that benefit that, okay, you have another structure where you remain as partnership, but you don't have to comply with all the regulations of Companies Act as a private limited company. So there is a different set of compliance requirements for LLPs. Now, there are certain provisions of LLP compliance provisions were made criminal offenses, which is of course not desirable. Businessmen, should be able to freely work, of course, with honesty and integrity. That is it goes without saying. But criminalizing unintentional, non-compliances or failure to meet some compliances and then facing the criminal provisions is uncalled for. So government has, the budget has surely given the good indication that those compliance requirements of LLPs will be decriminalized. It will be helpful for the MSMEs. Now, under the IBC provisions, we know that Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code has brought in new provisions for declaration of insolvency and bankruptcy of the companies. And a lot of existing MSMEs companies have been taken to the courts, NCLT courts, by the banks and by the creditors, other creditors also, secured and unsecured both. Now, this has been causing a lot of stress. The companies, even running companies, have been, because of the non-meeting of their financial commitments, running companies even are going, out of the work, and their operations are getting stopped. And because the moment your NCLT application is accepted by the court, NCLT court, and the insolvency resolution professional is appointed, on that day, the management of the company ceases to be the owners. The owners of the company cease to be the owners. They have to hand over the charge of the company to the IRP. So this created a lot of problems. And then, of course, because IRPs are, of course, with whatever competence and intelligent, they are very bright people. But then continuity of management and continuity of running the company gets adversely affected. So I think with that in view, the ministry, the budget has announced that a special framework for MSMEs. The government had also given indication earlier also that pre-packaged resolution plans will be prepared and put up to the NCLT courts for acceptance. It's just like, like restructuring programs as well restructuring programs. So I think this must be on the similar lines, pre-packaged resolution plans. The government has said that they will bring out a new framework for MSMEs under the IBC provision. And another issue which the government has, announced is extension of startup incentives by 1 more year. Of course, that is a very good initiative because startup incentives were going to expire, and government has said that they will extend it by 1 more year, and this will help the registered startups who can avail the benefits. Then another important provision which will help the MSMEs particularly is a reduction in the reopening of income tax cases from 6 years to 3 years. Now, this will be a great help to the MSMEs because otherwise they have to keep all the records for 6 years, and any time, and during the 6 years they can be called, their accounts, their assessments can be opened, which of course is a kind of a sword hanging on them. So I think it's a very good move that the reopening can be done only during the period of 3 years, except of course in those cases where some exceptional uh, problems are faced and some higher cases are detected. So this is a good provision. And one more provision regarding GST for self-certification in place of the audit by certification and audit by the chartered accountants or cost accountants. Now this will help filing of returns easily and submission of information for the assessment, and also save cost for the MSMEs. This is another measure which is good in the budget. These are all basically to help the ease of doing business for the MSMEs. While your tax remains the same, but if your working becomes easier, that also saves your cost and the overheads. So this is another measure which saves your cost and overheads. The definition of small companies under the Companies Act has been amended. Small companies have to, do lesser compliances. Those identified, those, designated as small companies, those classified as small companies have to go lesser compliances, and therefore their definition has been amended for, compliances in the form of capital amendment from 50 lakhs to 2 crores and turnover amendment 2 crores to 20 crores. So now small companies with capital of up to 2 crores and turnover up to 20 crores will be classified as small companies. So this will save a lot of small companies, micro enterprises, tiny and cottage industries basically to get out of this provisions of the small companies, which will help them in their ease of doing business. There is a amendment in the NCLT provisions for operational creditors who used to file cases for the recovery of their dues. The threshold has been increased from 1 lakh to 1 crore. That is another provision. And one more provision which is worth mentioning, that Startup India Seed Fund allocation of 945 crore will help providing seed funding to the various startup companies. A lot of companies have been established as startup and registered under the Startup India program of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So it will help this, this seed fund is going to help those companies to draw initial funding of 10 lakhs to 20 lakhs. Probably the government is going to set the limits for this financial, assistance. Then the one more indirect benefit, of course, to MSME is the vehicle scrapping policy, uh, which indirectly will help because ultimately the demand for new vehicles will come up, whether it is passenger vehicles or commercial vehicles, and then it will lead to boost in demand for MSMEs, components for the vehicle manufacturer. So indirectly, demand is going to grow. When demand is going to grow, naturally the MSMEs also have to, look at their share in that meeting that demand. And uh, there is another announcement with regard to bringing a conciliation and arbitration mechanism for contract disputes. Now, this is one of bigger issue. In fact, in ease of doing business in the World Bank Index also for India, India stands at 163 in contract enforcement, while the ease of doing business ranking has substantially come down to 60 something, 62 from earlier, like 100 and something. But one provision which has not changed, one parameter which has not changed is the contract enforcement, that is 163 even now. So there some action is required, and it's really very good to know that the budget has mentioned that a conciliation mechanism for contract dispute settlement will be brought in, which will surely be helpful for the small, resolution of small disputes. And we have to see whether this conciliation mechanism becomes legally, enforceable, because that provision needs to be built into those conciliation mechanism. I think when the government is bringing this mechanism, I am sure that the uh, legal enforcement of conciliations also would be looked into. And there is another last one which I would like to mention, the fintech platforms, which government mentioned slightly, but it also requires a serious, implementation of these fintech platforms across the country, because the government announced last year about the invoice discounting mechanism, uh, which is yet to take off. I feel that the threads which have been established, threads platform for invoice discounting, three threads platform are there. They are doing good work. It's a very innovative concept of bill discounting, but then very few companies have started taking advantage of that threads because of the requirements from both sides, from the buyer as well as seller. The corporates have to register, and then buyer can only take advantage when their suppliers can only take advantage, the MSMEs, only when their buyers have also onboarded on the threads platform. So a regime of easy discounting of bills, particularly, fintech companies, NBFCs, of course, fintechs which are registered as NBFCs, being allowed factoring, because factoring is as of now limited to only banks and special factor companies who follow the guidelines of the factoring law, the legal provisions. So NBFCs are probably as of now out of these provisions. So bringing a change in the entire invoice discounting and bill discounting and factoring by fintech and NBFCs would bring a lot of improvement in the availability of credit uh, to the MSMEs from alternative sources other than the banks. Otherwise, the MSMEs have to totally depend on banks. So that is another provision which is, I think, very helpful, which the government may bring in. I think these are some of the important issues which I thought let me highlight. These are concerning the MSMEs directly and indirectly. And of course, within the overall budget, if the overall budget is good for the economy, the entire spectrum is going to benefit from this. So I will stop here because I think taken more time than what was allotted. I think we should open it to the question answer if there are any questions. So Damini and Zumair, over to you back. Zumair, hello. So Damini,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I am through now. I give it back to you for any questions. If you have any questions from the audience, we will address them.
Sir, we have not received any question in chat, but I still ask my audience, if you have any questions, kindly raise your hand in the application itself. There's an option to raise your hand.
I can see one remark from Mr. Ashwani Kumar, Victor Forging. Good
They have
afternoon.
just
Ashwani
introduced
Kumar,
their.
Regional Chairman, FIO. Victor Forging is, of course, a well-known company. I know that. And I remember we had taken a delegation to China some time back. I think it's more than 12 years back. Then Victor Forging was also part of that. Ashwani ji, thank you very much for introducing yourself. So if you have any question, please let us know. Yes, you have any question, Prakash ji? Please tell me. Please unmute yourself.
Sir Kumar Saab, this is Ashwani.
Yes, Ashwani ji, how are you?
Sir, how are you, sir?
Fine. Very nice to reconnect with you.
Sir, very nice that you remember. And I also remember the hospitality which I had in your office with my dad.
Yes.
And,
how is he?
Sir, when I saw that you are going to say on MSME, but I was very excited to listen to you, sir.
Excellent.
Can you request the admin to allow me on my video, please?
To allow you for what?
For video. My video.
For video. Yes. Zumair, can you allow him video? Yeah.
Yes,
please,
sir.
Please open the video and audio of all those who want to raise question and who have raised their.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Okay. Yes, please, Ashwani ji.
Sir, Kumar Saab.
Welcome.
Sir, namaskar.
Pleasure to see you indeed.
बहुत अच्छा लगा सर आपकी सारी बात सुनी
जी.
सर अभी हम तो आपको पता है we are running this MSME platform here in Jalandhar and a lot of members are there.
जी.
And fortunately I've been again the regional chairman of Federation of Indian Export Organization. Yeah, this is my second term unopposed.
Very good.
Sir.
Excellent.
Sir, we are also taking up this matter. The problem here is that MSME units, especially the micro and small, the banks are not really cooperating with them.
Yes.
So my humble request to find a way, I mean, I'm personally going to the banks and discussing with them, and some are the small industry, they're having definitely small problem of credits.
Gee.
So in between, I made a suggestion in FIO also that these MSMEs, they find a problem. They are reluctant to invest every year. Our suggestion, if you can, sir, kindly forward that the 50% of the income tax, what is paid, that should be allowed to reinvest in the company.
Okay.
And this will help a lot to the industry to invest and grow. Because today is not the time, because of the labor, is not the time that anybody can stay with the old days of 2019.
Right.
But the COVID had changed the whole scenario. And we have to invest a lot on modernization, sir. So particularly in our hand tool industry, we all as a group decided to invest in modern techniques of polishing and all, where the more labor was required. Sir, we successfully did this, but we will continue. But there are units who are not able to do it.
Yes.
And some relief, some sort of help from the government is required, sir, for micro and small industry, sir.
Right. No, I think Ashwani ji very well said. Your point is real, one of the very important issues. In fact, the government had that. You remember that investment allowance used to be permitted earlier in the
Yes, sir.
taxation laws.
Yes, sir.
I think the suggestion that you are making is on the similar lines, that we should allow 50% of the income tax, up to 50% of the income tax as rebate under the investment allowance. So I think it's a good suggestion, because this only can bring in capital investment for technology upgradation. See, government is trying to give 15% subsidy for technology. I would say that even if you are not able to give subsidy, because that subsidy is not being made available to everybody. Sorry. So even if they are not able to give subsidy, at least this investment allowance can be given. Sorry.
Sir, next we have a question from Mr. Prakash Keswani. Let me unmute him now.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please ask your question.
You see, government is giving a lot of, putting a lot of money, helping, trying to help MSEs. We don't know where the money will go. It may go to influential people. It may go to companies which don't require also. And why give them this cash instead of giving some incentives, like, reducing the GST or postponing the GST to next year, some part of it, so that all the SMEs which are getting into trouble or which are closing down, they'll have some more money in their hand to run their business, instead of just announcing that they are going to give loans, which may be very difficult to get for ordinary SME.
Yeah, no, I think it's a suggestion. You see, different people have different suggestions. Some people say you give us the subsidy, give us interest subvention, give
That's
us
for new projects. That's for new projects.
Yeah.
What about the existing which are closing down?
No, of course, there I agree with you that those which are in the difficult state and closing, naturally some kind of revival assistance has to be given to them. And if you can send this this recommendation to our office on the email which Zumair is going to give, I will take it up with the government.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let us at least existing companies should survive, instead of trying to increase the output of the some companies, or trying to introduce more companies. At least let the existing companies first survive.
Agreed. I think it's very important issue. Yes.
Thank you.
Sir, next we have a question from Mr. Sampatharan. So, Mr. Sampatharan, you may please ask your question now.
Yeah. Can you show my face on the video?
Yeah, please do that. Sampatharan. Yes, Mr. Sampatharan. Yes. Yes,
sir,
please.
My question is, you see, we are the people who are paying the tax.
Yes.
This COVID, we did not create.
Yes.
Neither the government. It's a creation, say, from outside the country.
Right.
Which has affected all of us. Something like what has never happened in 100 years. Okay. Lockdown might have been a solution, or might not have been. But we are forced to undergo the lockdown horror. And you see, full lockdown, partial lockdown, all went up to 9 months of we were completely out of business. Now, in all fairness, the government should have given us cash compensation, as many countries did. It has not been done. Okay. At least they could give us interest-free loan. See, what is the, a person who doesn't have a turnover for 10 months, 8 months, 10 months, because of this COVID and the lockdown, how can he take a loan and repay it? It will only hasten his closure.
Right.
What is your take on this, sir? Why the government is not willing to do it? You see, there is going to be some 9.5% inflation. That is what is talked about. Okay, if it goes to 12%, what happens? Will we lose our foreign rating? Is
I
it?
think
That's
no. I think your point is very well taken. Everybody appreciates that. Because of the difficulties and the lockdowns, of course, everybody suffered. MSMEs, the most sufferers. And informal sector, of course, is the worst sufferer. The government has to really draw a balance between the resources and the, where they can spend. So I think those who are making the budget are the best judge that given the limitations of resources, as I mentioned that against the expenditure of 34 lakh crore, 34.5 lakh, the resources is only 19 lakh crore. That is the taxation and other resources, other than of course borrowing. The government is going for 12 lakh crore of additional borrowing and then 2.25 lakh crore of disinvestment. So while there, and with this resource generation also the government is going for 6.8% revenue deficit, which is of course has the danger of increasing the inflation and the interest rates. So while the demand of MSME sector and other sectors also is very genuine, but the government has to see, I mean, that is my feeling, but nevertheless, it doesn't take away the importance of your point. We will surely take it up with the government. The only thing is that the government has to look at the balance, where they can spend and from where they can bring that money.
Dr. Kumar, the last question for today is actually it is not a question. Mr. Ajay Rai, he seeks your comments on. He's saying that under central government scheme, banks are supposed to give finance collateral free up to 2 crore rupees, but banks are not supporting in the same even for a small amount of 50 lakh. So he wants to know your comments on this.
No, I partly agree with that because this 2 crores limit has been set for collateral free credit from Credit Guarantee Fund Trust of micro and small enterprises, which the government guarantees, government and SIDBI. It's a separate trust. One reason that the banks are not giving loans under this is the lack of knowledge with the banks themselves, because the scheme has not been fully explained to those branches and banks. I mean, even today, if you go to branch manager and talk to some staff and officer, credit officer, he will not know. He says, what kind of credit? I don't want to give anything without the collateral security. This is my mandate. So I mean, it is very difficult for people to get the credit under that scheme. I fully agree. But gradually, with the information and with guidance, with circulars coming from banks headquarters, because intentions of banks management from their head offices is not suspect. They keep guiding their branches, but the branch managers, thousands of people separately located across the country. Now, the borrower, when he goes, he has to virtually plead before the branch manager. If branch manager or the credit officer says, no, I will not give it, so where to go? I mean, you keep lodging the complaints, it will take years to resolve those complaints. So this culture of non-compliance also is there. But nevertheless, what government says is that you bring out specific cases to us. When we talk to government and tell them that these are the cases, banks don't give the credit under this Credit Guarantee Fund Trust, they ask for collateral. So they say you bring specific cases to us. Who has been declined? What was the case? Who declined it? What was the loan? So if you give us specific cases, we will take action. So what I will say that is, while we appreciate and we know that this is happening, if you can give us some specific case, we will surely write it, and you can yourself write it to the government. See, the government has now started a champions portal. You open the Ministry of MSME website, the champions window is already there. Under the champions, they ask you to write what is your complaint. Any specific issue you can write. And they have promised that within 24 hours, they will respond. They will search and respond. So please take it up there. And whenever the opportunity arises, we will also take it up. But I agree with you that it's not easy to get the loan. Yes.
So, sir, that was all for today. We won't be taking any more questions now. Time is almost over. And thank you so much, sir, for taking out time and addressing our audience today on all this year's budget had for MSME in detail. And I thank all participants for joining us at this session. And till we meet again, have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.